Spill your employer's secrets herein, that is things the rest of us can exploit. Since the last confession thread worked pretty well, let's do a corporate edition. Fire up those throwaways one more time and tell us the stuff companies don't want us to know. The more exploitable, the better. If you've purchased a frame from LensCrafters with rhinestones and one or more has fallen out, there is a policy which entitles you to a new frame within 1 year. They are not always so generous with this one, so be prepared to argue a bit. Ask for the manager, and if that fails, calling or emailing corporate gets you almost anything. As a barista in the coffee beanery, I was routinely told to use regular caffeinated coffee instead of decaffeinated by management. Sorry, my secrets are a little on the boring side, but I'm sure plenty of you can make up for that. I'm speaking as a person who has been in the hotel business for most of his life. When you drive into a hotel parking lot and you see that it's not full, that means the hotel's probably not full, unless there's a bus or something. There is no such things as a fixed hotel price. You're given automatic discounts for AAA, AARP, senior citizens, membership clubs, etc. But you can easily get 20% off the rate the person at the front desk quotes you by hustling and haggling. It's better to sell a room for 80% of the asking price than not sell it at all, right? See, I hear this one all the time, but I have no idea how I should actually approach this. Do I say, okay, so I know I have a reservation for $150 a night, but would you be willing to give me a discount? Along the same lines, how do I bring up the subject of a possible room upgrade? Do you have any high-end rooms that no one is using that you'd be willing to stick me in for no extra charge? I've had good deals on motels in small towns on road trips by bartering. The way you do it is you just ask what the rate is. They'll say $69.99. Say gotta look around town a bit. I was hoping for something more like $40. Maybe I'll come back. You'll get your rate, especially if it's a slow season. Not sure how well this translates to higher end places in touristy areas, or if you can do it when you have a reservation. Maybe you could say, I noticed XYZ next door has similar rooms for $110, but mine here is $150. Can you cancel my remaining days after tonight, so I can move there? But for road trips you can save a lot over the quoted prices. If you have Comcast as your cable provider and live with another person, you can continuously get their 6-month promo deals by doing a service takeover after your promo is up. Just pretend you're moving out and the other person is moving in. They will give the new person another 6-month promo and won't have to do another install. It just changes whose info is on the account. Almost nobody uses service takeovers and therefore don't really keep track of you doing it. I've never worked here, Cash America Porn, but this is one of the best, will save you hundreds. Some of you may know this, but at Cash America Pawn shops, on every price tag on a product they are selling is a collection of letters from the word Mary Louise. The letters are a code for how much the pawn shop paid out for the item, how much they've invested. The code is at M equals 1, A equals 2, R equals 3 and so on. The E equals 0. Say that the price for an item is $400. You look at the price tag, find the code, and it has the letters AAEE. This means that Cash America paid out $220. Once you find what you want, make sure you're talking to a manager or assistant manager. They are the only ones who can go really low. For the example used above, I would offer $250, then $275, then we would probably settle for $300. I love buying shit from pawn shops, and this code can give you the upper hand. ATMs in the US that charge $1 or $1.25, $1.50, whatever it's up to now, for non-bank cards will sometimes not charge that if you ask for a different language, Spanish, French, Chinese, etc. I assume they don't always bother translating the "I'm going to charge you now" page to airtight legal lingo in every language, and just skip it. Some will present a translated version of it, but it's worth a shot when stuck needing to use one. They also often don't charge for non-US cards, so if you have another account out of the country they are free in many more cases. If I need cash and I don't have an ATM to hand, I just go to the drugstore and buy some gum and get cash back. That way I only have to pay like $0.70 and I get gum. Not really a secret, but the general public doesn't know my company exists. Let's say you have a small business and you need 100,000 envelopes with matching letterhead. You go down to your local Kinkus or whatever and order it up. They're glad to take your order. Then they go in their back room and cry because they can't do 100,000 envelopes with matching letterhead. Then they call us. We take a giant 4-foot in diameter spool of paper, throw it on a cutting machine, make the envelopes from scratch, then slap them on an industrial printing press that spits out 100,000 in a couple of hours. At our peak, before the economy tanked, we were making 70 million envelopes a month. 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. Before I started working here I just naturally assumed all envelopes were made in bulk in China. Not so. I work for a senior senator. We do not care about anything you say on the phone, mail us, or fax us. If you call to voice your opinion, the intern answering the phone will listen to you for a minute, tell you that they will be sure to let the senator know, hang up and continue surfing Facebook. If you mail or fax a form letter, a pre-written letter from an organization that you just sign, it will get thrown out without a second glance. If you handwrite a well thought out, calm letter, it may go into the mailbox of the legislative correspondent dealing with the subject matter, and you may receive a general pre-written letter on the subject a few months later. If you send casework it will be sent back to the office in our state, and I'm not sure how they deal with it from there. When I was a kid, I had to mail my congressman about something, school assignment. The Mars missions landings were happening, and one of them crash landed on the planet. So I wrote about that, and my 10-year-old genius idea on how to fix the problem. Turns out he not only read it, but had some NASA people look at it, which they sent him, and then he shipped me back some 40-page research document on how it was a good idea, but that it wouldn't work, due to the propagation time it takes for radio waves to reach the destination. Even though I was wrong, I never felt so cool in my life, at least for the next few years. I used to work for a major office supply chain. They own a stadium. One day I went into the back and found one of the cashiers standing over a pile of stuff, printer cartridges, calculators, etc., and stomping her little heart out and trying her best to smash all of it. I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And she says, "Oh, they told me to break this stuff because they can't sell it." I marched into my manager's office and asked what the hell they were thinking, and they replied, "Well, that stuff has sat in the clearance bin for months. We can't afford to keep it on the floor, so it has to be destroyed." "Well, why can't you donate it to like, a school or something?" "Well, if we donate it, we have to write it off as a loss, and it makes our profits look lower. This way it's written off as damaged property, and it improves our books." They did the same with blank CDs. There were stacks of hundreds of them and I was like, I can use them, so I grabbed a bunch and put them under my jacket. When I came back at the end of my shift, they had taken them back, and another cashier was taking them one by one, scratching them with her keys, and dumping them in the trash. It totally shattered my youthful optimism. I currently work for a regional ISP in Southern California. We keep no records of IP addresses whatsoever, and I know for a fact that most other small and medium ISPs keep no records either. Moral of the story, don't use AT&T, Verizon, Time Warner, Cox, or Comcast for your internet. There are always other providers, you just have to look harder to find them. AT&T